The teachings of Rabbi Rav Sprecher, Dean of Students at Diaspora Yeshiva on Mount Zion, Jerusalem.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank my dear friends Yaakov and Chava Goldman for letting me use their home to give this shiur. The OU Center is closed, unfortunately. Before we get to the subject of Pesach, it's amazing that the worldwide craze of Corona, but it's amazing that the word Mashiach in Hebrew and the word Corona have the exact same gematria. Mem Shin Yud Ches, Moshiach, is gematria 358, and Corona, Kuf, Vav, Reish, Aleph, Nun, Aleph, also happens to have the same gematria as Corona 358. What does it all mean? In Masechta Tanit, in the Tosefta, written about 2,000 years ago, in Perik Bet, in the Tosefta, at the end of Masechta Tanit, the Talmud states over there that right before Mashiach comes, God will bring a worldwide plague that will encircle the entire world, and that will get the world ready, purify and cleanse the world for Mashiach's coming. So it's amazing, Mashiach and Corona have the same gematria. According to Talmud and Tainis Tosefta chapter 2, this is all part of God's plan to cleanse the world, to get the world to do tshuva, to get the world to unite, especially the Jewish people, in order to purify and cleanse the world, to get ready for Mashiach's coming, which Mashiach cannot come unless the Jewish people in the world do tshuva, unless we unite. And this is God's game plan. Everybody's uniting, and hopefully we're doing tshuva. There's an amazing pasuk in Mishlei Yudchet, Proverbs chapter 18, pasuk 14. I'll read it to you. Mishlei Yudches, pasuk Yudalid. Proverbs 18:14. King Solomon says 3,000 years ago, Ruach ish yechalkel machlehu. If a person has a strong, determined spirit, this will sustain him in his sickness. Says Targum. Which sickness? Says Targum Karana. It's incredible. The Targum says the sickness is called Karana, which is very close to the word Corona. Pretty interesting. So Ruach ish yechalkel machlehu, a person's spirit will sustain him through the sickness, and Targum says that sickness is Karana. And Rashi comments, amazing Rashi again on Mishlei 18, pasuk 14, Ruach ish, says Rashi, Ruach gever, shu ish gibor, ve'enoi noten daga belibo, a person's spirit, if he's really a gibor, a hero, and he doesn't give thought, he's not worried, umekabel kol haba'alav b'simcha, he accepts whatever comes on him b'simcha, because he knows whatever God does is for the best, even though we don't understand it. So King Solomon says, if your spirit is strong, and you don't become depressed, and you're makabel, whatever Hashem sends you b'simcha, that's the way to sustain yourself and to beat this dreaded sickness. Okay, let's get now to the subject of Pesach. Pesach, everything on Pesach night revolves around the number 4. Number 4. Well, there are 4 questions. There are 4 children. There are 4 cups. There are 4 terms of endearment that God uses to redeem us. And we said the 4 children, the 4 questions. And there's also 4 Torah mitzvahs on Pesach night. What are the 4 Torah mitzvahs on Pesach night? Korban Pesach, Matzah, Morer, Migara Tolabincha. Eat Pesach, Matzah, and Morer in temple times. Today we can't do it. Just Matzah and Morer. That's 3 Torah mitzvahs. And the 4th Torah mitzvah is Migara Tolabincha, to tell the story on Pesach night. Arba Kosot is only the Rabbanan. So everything revolves around the number 4 on Pesach night. And the Chag also has 4 names. It's called Chag HaPesach. It's called Chag HaAviv. It's called Chag Cherut, and it's called Chag HaMatzot. So why does everything revolve around the number 4 on Pesach night? The Talmud tells us in Tractate Sota that the redemption from Egypt only happened in the schar of Noshim Tzidkoniot, in the righteous women. Not because of Moses or Aaron or the Zikanim. The Exodus happened in the schar of the righteous women, Gemara in Sota 11. So the righteous women are represented by whom? The 4 mothers of Israel. So therefore, to pay homage to the righteous women, and the symbol of the righteous woman, the 4 righteous mothers, therefore everything on Pesach night revolves around the number 4. And the Zohar continues that just like the first Geula in Mitzrayim is because of the righteous women, so the final Geula, which we are very, very close, Mashiach Gematria Corona, or Corona Gemat Mashiach, will also come also in the Schus Savat, the Noshim Tzidkoniot, the righteous Jewish women. Now, Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol haleilot. So the English says, why is this night different than all the nights? But everybody who knows Hebrew knows that the word ma doesn't mean why. How do you say ma? How do you say why in Hebrew? Madua or lama. This is a Mishnah Psachim. The Mishnah doesn't say Madua nishtana halayla hazeh. Doesn't say lama nishtana halayla hazeh. It says ma. So why does the English and even our ArtScroll translate why is this night different from all other nights? When it doesn't say madua lama, it says ma. What is different about this night from all other nights? Which reminds me of a story. All my stories are true, but some didn't happen yet. When the Queen of England was knighting Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks. He was wearing a kippah, and she was knighting him, and she said, why is this night different from all other nights? He's wearing a kippah. Hardy, hard. Okay. But anyway, Ma nishtana halayla zeh mikol haleilot. What is different about this night? Why is this night, the night of Pesach, what is different about it? So the Mishnah goes on and gives 4 questions. But of course there's more. What is different about this night? This is the only night where you say Hallel. And you say it not once, but you say it twice. Once in the davening Mariv, and then you say it again in the Seder. So what is different about this night? It's the only night of the year where you say Hallel not once, but you say Hallel twice. You say Hallel also at night. And to answer this question, why you say Hallel only on Pesach night, to answer this question, we will ask another question. In the Seder, we say the first 2 chapters of the Hallel, we interrupt, and we have a big meal, and we go back and we say Hallel. Isn't that disrespectful? In the middle of the Hallel, we interrupt Seder night, we say the first 2 chapters, have a big meal, and then we go back and we finish the Hallel. What's the meaning of that? Well, let's think. When was the first time in human history that God commanded a person to eat a korban? Let's remember that Cain and Hevel and Noach, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they all brought korbanot, all of them. Would they dare eat a korban? It would be sacrilege. Noach and Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they all brought korbanot, but it was all korban olah. No one would dare eat a korban. The first time in human history that a person was commanded to eat the korban was on Pesach night. Where God commanded us, instead of burning the animal on the Mizbeach, we should eat the korban. What's the symbolism of that? Says the Maharal. On Pesach night, God created a people who are a living, breathing Mizbeach. Instead of burning the animal on the Mizbeach, when we eat the korban, we become a living Mizbeach. And therefore, when we eat in the middle of the Hallel on Pesach night, it's not an interruption. The eating on Pesach night, the Korban and the whole meal, the Mesudat Mitzvah, that is not an interruption to the Hallel. It's part of the Hallel. So what's different? Why do we say Hallel on Pesach night? Because Pesach night is when God created the Jewish people. God created us as a nation, as a holy people. The birth of the Jewish people was on Pesach night. And to demonstrate that, and to thank God for that, we say Hallel. And we eat dafka in the middle of the Hallel of the Seder, demonstrating that eating on Pesach night in the middle of Hallel is not an interruption. It's part of praising God. When a Jew eats L'Shem Shemayim, that's part of the Hallel on Pesach night. That concept was created on Pesach night. And to demonstrate that, therefore, we say Hallel only on Pesach night, the night that we became God's holy people. It's more than that. If you look at the Hallel that we say on Pesach night, the first two Psalms refer directly to Yetzias Mitzrayim. And we say that before the meal. Then we have the meal, and then we finish the Hallel. And those Psalms of after the meal do not refer to Mitzrayim at all. Because the first part of the Seder and the Hallel that mentions the Exodus from Egypt, that we're thanking God for the Exodus from Egypt. But the second part of the Hallel, which doesn't mention Yetzias Mitzrayim at all, that's thanking God for the anticipation of what? Of the final redemption. And therefore the Seder falls into two parts. From the Kiddush to the meal, we remember the Exodus from Egypt. And from the meal to the end of the Seder, we look forward to the future final redemption. And that's why the cup of Eliyahu is after the meal. Because Malachi tells us that God will send Eliyahu Novi to announce what? The final redemption. The final redemption. So therefore we drink the cup of Eliyahu. We don't drink it, but we pour it at the end of the meal, symbolizing that Eliyahu Novi will come to announce the final redemption. And just like the redemption from Egypt, God brought plagues. So this corona plague, this is a plague that God is bringing for the final redemption as well. Hopefully very, very soon. The Haggadah quotes the Pasuk, V'garata lebincha. The Seder is all about telling your children about the Exodus from Egypt. Why does it concentrate so much on children? Well, we give over to the future generation. But Rav Sprecher says the purpose of Seder night is all of us, no matter how old we are, we should rejuvenate ourselves and become childlike. Children have a wonderful curiosity and they're always eager to learn and ask questions. So Rav Sprecher says that, an adult, you have a feeling, been there, done that. But on Pesach night, you have to have the excitement of a child. On Seder, we become like children. Everything should be new and exciting again, to bring out our inner child, our inner curiosity, and the childlike simcha children have. And that's our challenge on Pesach night. Despite the hard times we're going through now, we have to realize that just like the Jews in Mitzrayim went through Mem Teshari Tuma, and we paid our dues, and now we're paying our dues, getting ready for what? For the final redemption. For the final redemption. And this also explains why is Pesach the only 2-day Yom Tov from the Torah. There is no other 2-day Yom Tov in the Torah except Pesach. Rosh Hashanah is only 1 day in our Torah. Shmini Atzeres at the end of Sukkot is a separate holiday. How do I know? You make a Shechiyanu. You don't make a Shechiyanu on Shvi Shel Pesach. Because Shvi Yishla Pesach is what? Part of Pesach. Unlike Shmini Atzeres Simchas Torah, which is not part of Sukkot. Make a Shechionu. So, Ma Nishtana Pesach, what is different about Pesach? It's the only 2-day Yontif from the Torah. So, the Baal Shem Tov says something amazing. He says, one of the Ani Mamins that we have to believe in is the belief in the coming of Mashiach. It's the Ikar of Yahadut. So where in the Torah is there a mitzvah to believe in the coming of Mashiach? Said the Baal Shem Tov, therefore Pesach is the only 2-day Yontif from the Torah. The first day we commemorate the redemption from Mitzrayim. And the Shvi Shal Pesach, we commemorate what? The final redemption. So according to Baal Shem Tov, we keep the 7th day of Pesach as a reminder. The first day of Pesach, we thank God for the redemption from Egypt. And the 7th day of Pesach, we commemorate to thank God that just like He redeemed us from Egypt, He will redeem us again through Mashiach. And therefore, the 7th day of Pesach, we read Oz Yoshir Moshe. Then Moshe will sing. Why is it in the future? Shvi Yishla Pesach, we read Moshe and the Jewish people will sing, because it's referring to what? To the Messianic redemption. And therefore we have a 7th day of Pesach. And no other Yontif in the Torah has 2 days. Rosh Hashanah from the Torah is only 1 day. The second is rabbinic, the 2nd day of Rosh Hashanah. Now the Haggadah tells us that the Torah speaks to what? To 4 children, 4 sons, 4 sons. The Chacham, the Rasha, the Tam, and the one who doesn't know how to ask. Which son am I? Which son am I? Of the 4 sons that the Megillah speaks about, which son am I? So my Rebbe Rapam said that all of us, if we're honest with ourselves, each one of us, at certain times in our lives, is each of the 4. He says the 4 sons represent the inner struggle within each and every one of us. Sometimes we act like a chacham, like a tzaddik. Other times when we lose it, we carry on like a rasha, chas v'shalom. Sometimes we act like a tam, we don't know what to say, we don't know what to do. All of us in our lives are a Dr. Jekyll and a Mr. Hyde. So which of the 4 sons am I? I'm all of them. I'm all of them. So the tafkid in life is to what? Build up the chacham personality and try to diminish the rasha personality. It's a constant struggle. So so therefore it says Arba banim diber Torah echad chacham ve'echad rasha. It should have said echad chacham v'asheni rasha v'ashlishi tam v'revi shenedei lishol. No, that's proper Hebrew. But no. The Balagoda says the 4 sons or the 4 children, Echad Chacham. One is a Chacham, one is a Rasha, one is a Tam, and one is Sheni Dei Elishel. Because every one of us is that one in different times of our lives. It's the same Echad. Sometimes I act Chas Shalom like a Rasha. Other times I'm the same one who acts like a Chacham, and sometimes like a Tam. So therefore it doesn't say 1, 2, 3, 4, as it should say, but it's the same echad, it's the same person. Every one of us is what? That same person. And another explanation is, every one of us is echad, is unique. Even the Tam, even the Rasha, he's still part of the Jewish people, and he's an echad. Every one of us is unique. And God needs every one of us. Even the Rasha. Even the Rasha. In last week's parsha we read about the Katori. The Katori had 11 herbs and spices. 10 of them smelled delicious. One, the chelbana, had a very bad smell. And the Gemara in Inclusivity, page 6 says that bad-smelling chelbana represents the Rishayim. And if the chelbana was missing, the entire service is invalid, and the Kohen who offers it without the chelbana is chai misa b'nei shamayim. So the Gemara in Inclusivity, page 6 says the chelbana represents the Rasha. Even the Rasha is part of the Ketoret, which is the highest service in the Beis HaMikdash. Even the Rasha is God's child, and he's part of the Jewish people, and he must be included on Pesach night, as he's included in the Ketoret, the Chelbana.
And the 4 species.
And the 4 species, that's right. The Arava represents the Rasha, and he's part of the 4. It's amazing. Rashi in Parshas Bo says that the 4 sections of the Tefillin represent the 4 sons. Rashi, the end of Parshas Bo. That even the Rasha is represented by a section in the Tefillin. He's part of the Jewish people. Because this year's Rasha can be next year's Chacham. Just because he's a Rasha this year doesn't mean he'll be a Rasha next year. Look at Rabbi Akiva. Look at him. He was an ignoramus, hated the rabbis 1 year. And the next year he was the greatest Chacham. And therefore, in the Ketoret, the highest service in the Beis HaMikdash was the Ketoret. How do you say that in English? The incense. And Dafke there, the Rasha is represented. The foul-smelling chelbana. Ooh, the Kohen says, I'll leave him out. God says, if you don't include the foul-smelling Jew, you're out.
Plenty of those around these days. Plenty of those around.
The Ketoret. Why is the incense called Ketoret? And why must we include the foul-smelling Jew, the Rasha, the chelbana, with the Kohen to put a clothespin on his nose? Why? So why is the incense called Ketoret, Chava? Ketoret is Rosh Tevot, or I think it's called an acronym, NYPD, or CIA. Ketoret, the Kuf stands for Kedusha. The Tet stands for Tahara. The Resh stands for Rachamim, and the Tov stands for Tikva. The purpose of a Jew, and the Kohen Gadol represented the Jewish people when he burned incense, Ketoret, the Kuf Kedusha, must attain Kedusha. And we must contain Tes Tahara. How do you say Tahara? Purity. Resh, how do we do that? How do we achieve Kedusha and Tahara? The Kuf is Kedusha, the Tes is Tahara. How do we get there? What's the end of the word? Resh Tef, Resh Tov. Resh represents Rachamim, by being compassionate to each other. That's how we attain Kedusha and Tahara. Kuf Tet, and the end of the word is Resh Tov. You get Kedusha and Tahara by displaying Rachamim, compassion to a fellow Jew. And the Tov stands for what? Tikva. You don't give up on any Jew, even a Rosh, a foul-smelling Jew. Tikva. Where there's life, there's hope. That's what it means to be a Ketoret Jew. Kedusha, Tahara, Rachamim, and most important, Tikva. Not to give up hope. The Matzah looks dire, but a Jew always has to have Tikva. Never to give up on the Matzah and never to give up on a fellow Jew. That's the message. Now, one of the 4 sons, Chava, is a Chacham, and the other one is a Rasha. Is that the what's it called? Symmetry? If you say one is a Chacham, if you say one is a Rasha, you say the other guy should be a Tzaddik. Now, what's the opposite of a Rasha? Tzaddik. What's the opposite of a Tzaddik? A Rasha. So how come the Mishnah says Chacham and Rasha? Shouldn't it be Tzaddik v'Rasha?
Not necessarily.
Why?
Why?
You want to antithesis.
Because the Chacham is wise. He knows what to do.
But what's the opposite of a Rasha? Isn't it a tzaddik? So why not say tzaddik v'rasha? Why say Chacham v'rasha?
The tzaddik is too hard.
Why?
Wise and ignorant.
You should say tzaddik v'rasha, not Chacham.
But
The answer, yeah.
The tzaddikim are...
You want to make a contrast.
Right, but the thing is that the tzaddikim are completely... They're unreachable.
Why?
I don't know why.
V'amech kulam tzaddikim chava. Isaiah 60. God tells the prophet Isaiah, v'amech kulam tzaddikim. So if you say Rosh, you should say tzaddik. The answer, you give up? Not yet?
But you just said something. You said kulam tzaddikim, including the Reshaim.
Eventually he will become.
He'll become
Eventually.
that, but he isn't now.
But this is the key. Why is he not now? If the Rasha knew the beauty of Chochmat HaTorah, he wouldn't be a Rasha anymore. Chacham v'Rasha. He's a Rasha because he doesn't know the beauty of Chochmat HaTorah. He's ignorant. He thinks it's the guru and all this shtuyot.
Maybe
If he knew the beauty of Chochmas HaTorah, he wouldn't be a Rasha anymore.
But why the Chacham and not the Tzaddik?
But that's why. He's a Rasha because he doesn't know the beauty of Chochmas HaTorah.
Oh, the Chachma.
Chochmat HaTorah. So that's the antidote. You're a Rasha because you don't know the beauty of the Chacham. You think Judaism is about eating gefilte fish, right? And lax and bagels. If he knew the beauty, then he wouldn't be a Rasha anymore. And therefore, we contrast the Rasha not with the Tzaddik, but Dafke with what? The Chacham. So, what is our tafkid? All of us are the four sons at different times of our lives. So what's the target? We have to target those areas of our personality that are negative to improve them and enhance those personality traits that are positive. Accent the positive and try to eliminate the Rasha.
Sometimes I'm all four within an hour.
With what?
Sometimes I'm all four within an hour.
Right? Interesting.
Some of us can say the same.
Now, the Chacham says, what's it all about? What's it all about? Tell me in one sentence, what's Yahadut all about? What is the Eidut, the Chukim and Mishpatim that Hashem commanded us? You want to sum up Judaism, tell it to me in one sentence. That's what the Chacham is asking. Too bad you don't have a Gada here. So we tell him, how many halachas are there, Chava?
How many halachot?
There must be 10,000, no?
Lots and lots.
So you want to sum up Judaism, I would say Shabbat, maybe Taras HaMishpacha, Chava, maybe Mila. The Chacham is saying, give me Yahadut in one sentence, Chava, tell it to me. So that 10,000 halachas, perhaps more. Look what we tell him.
Don't.
Ein maftirin achara Pesach afikomen. You want to find out Judaism? No jello after the lamb chop.
Oh.
On Pesach night, when you have the shawarma, and you want to have some parva ice cream, Chava, right? Look at the Chacham's question. The four sons.
See if I can find it in here.
The Chacham, the four sons. So that's what we tell him. You want to have some parva ice cream after the shawarma on Pesach night? No. No jello for you. Isn't there always room for jello? Who said that? Bill Cosby. All of us shalom.
He's not that. He's not that. He's just in jail.
Why is that Yahadut Chava in one sentence? Tell me.
Don't do anything to someone else that you wouldn't want to have done to you.
What's it got to do with not eating jello after the lamb chop on Pesach night? Why is that Judaism? Why is that Judaism? This is a game changer. I'll go for it. What was the first mitzvah God gave the first human being? Don't eat that non-kosher tree. Control your urges. Discipline, self-control. That's Judaism in one sentence. You want to have that Jell-O, you want to have that Big Mac, or the sizzling bacon, or the ham, it smells so delicious. You want to eat before davening, you're hungry. You want to have relations with your wife and never she's a nida. Judaism is all about self-control. As the Mishnah says, Eze Gibor HaKovesh Es Yitzro. The Mishnah says, Chava, who's a hero? Someone's able to what? Conquer his Yetzer Hara. That's Judaism. It's a symbol. You want to eat that non-kosher meat? It smells so good. You want to indulge in illegal sexual activity? You want to eat this, you want to eat that, you want to do that. Judaism, in a nutshell, is discipline and self-control. Accept limitations. That's Judaism. The $64 question is, why is that Judaism? The answer is, we have a mitzvah in Sefer Devarim, v'halachta b'drachav, to walk in his ways. How did God create the universe? Tzimtzum. God restricted and limited himself. Otherwise there couldn't be a universe. So therefore he commands us to limit ourselves, because imitating him. If God would not limit and restrict himself, there would be no world, because it's all God. So the Kabbalists tell us he created the world through tzimtzum, restricting and limiting himself. So therefore he requires that of us. Don't eat that non-kosher tree. Don't eat that non-kosher food. Control yourself, because that's how God, Kavayochel, did to create the world. And our tafkid in life is to imitate HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'halachta b'drachav. And therefore Judaism is all about self-control, discipline, and that's what we tell the Chacham. You just had a delicious swarm of Pesach, and you want to have a little bit of Jell-O or dessert, you can't do it. And that sums up the whole Jewish religion. And therefore it's the first mitzvah given to the first human being. Don't eat that tree. Practice limitation. God says, I did it, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Pretty amazing, huh? Now, probably the most misunderstood verse that we read on Pesach night, the Rasha. The English says, what do we say to him? You must blunt his teeth. Chavi, you want to read that to me, maybe? The Rasha. What do we answer the Rasha?
Let me see if I can. I found the four.
So right after that is the Rasha.
It's right after the Rasha?
No, after the four, you have the Rasha.
Okay, I found the Rasha.
Go ahead. What do we answer the Rasha?
The thing is,
You ain't got it in English?
no.
Oh, it's only Hebrew.
I have it in Hebrew.
Okay.
Rasha,
So,
Mahu Omer.
right, but the end of it we say, Haket Shinav. So the English translate blunt his teeth. But I'm not a dentist. What do you mean blunt his teeth? That's how you speak to someone on Pesach night? A Rebbe Rapam explained, it's totally...
Oh, I have it now.
What does it say in English?
It doesn't say in English.
Oh, well, I thought you had English.
But you would...
It says blunt... Hakeh et shinav. I want to... You don't have an English Haggadah here? No? Okay. The English says blunt his teeth, or knock out his teeth. But that's ridiculous.
I think we have one.
You have one English Haggadah.
Yeah.
Maxwell House or whatever. But isn't that a ridiculous? That's what you say to a child on Pesach night? I want to knock out your teeth or go to the dentist. Doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. All right. But it's a totally a misunderstanding. Okay. Well, what does Shinav really mean? So my Rebbe explained that the word Shinav here doesn't mean teeth. It means the letter Shin. Haket Shinav is sharpen his connections to the Shin. Say what? Totally different meaning. Sharpen his connections to the Shin. What does that mean? If you look at the Tefillin Shel Rosh, you see there's a four-headed Shin there. Why does the Tefillin Shel Rosh have a four-headed Shin? The Shin stands for Shaddai. Shin normally has three heads. Why does the Tefillin Shel Rosh have four heads? What's our connection to Shaddai? Through the four mothers of Israel. You found it?
I found it.
What did I say in English?
It says in the English of this book, set his teeth on edge.
What does that mean, set his teeth on edge?
I mean, that is another way of saying blunt his teeth, but
I'm not a dentist.
Right.
So my Rebbe Rapam said it doesn't mean teeth. The word shinav here means sharpen his connection to his shins. What does that mean? You look at Tefillin Shel Rosh, there's a four-headed shin there. The shin stands for Shaddai. What is our connection to God? It's the mothers of Israel, not the fathers. Whether you're a Jew or not doesn't depend on the father, it depends on the mother. So the four-headed shin of Shaddai in the Tefillin represents the four mothers of Israel. We tell him, you're not as wicked as you think you are. You're still connected to your four-headed shin. You have a Jewish mother, represented by the four mothers of Israel. You're a Jew. No matter how wicked you think you are, on Pesach night, we have to sharpen your connections to the four-headed shin, which represents the four mothers of Israel, which you are a great, great, great descendant of. You're not as bad as you think you are. You still have Jewish roots. Pesach is the time to connect to your shins. You still have the Schus Avot and the Schus Imaot. But look at the end of what we say to the Rosh Hashanah in English. What do we say to him? The end of that, after blunt your teeth. You want to read that?
And say, all of this is because of that which the Lord did unto me when I came forth out of Egypt. For if he had been there...
To me and not to him, no? Does it say that?
If he had been there, he would not have been redeemed. It doesn't say that in this book.
Well, Hebrew said, Li Belolo. God did for me, and not for you.
Right.
If you would have been there, you would not be redeemed.
Right.
Does that make any sense? That's how you talk to a child that's sitting at the Seder. Hello. People could read 89 years the Haggadah, and they don't realize what they're saying. Says my great Rebbe Rapam, please hear me well. Please hear me well. Are we teasing him? Me and not for you. You're no good. You know, that's how you talk to a child and say, it's a total misunderstanding, says my Rebbe. You look at the Hebrew. Ilu hoyu sham lo hoyu nigal. If you were there in Cairo 3,333 years ago, you will not be redeemed. Because you didn't have the Torah. But thank God you're not sham. You're a Pole. Look how careful. Ilu hoyu sham. You're not teasing him. You are giving him words of chizuk. Ilu hoyu sham. If you would have been there in Cairo, Memter Shari Tuma, you'll be lost. But thank God you're not sham. Where are you? Po. And as long as you have the Torah, you're never lost. Kitoret, the tikva, the tough. Thank God you're not sham, you're po. It changes the whole meaning. Do we realize what we're saying?
That now he has a chance to be redeemed.
Because he's not sham, he's po. They didn't have the Torah, so never they were lost. But you're not sham, you're po, and as long as you have the Torah, you're never lost. You have that tikva from Katori, the tough. Because you're connected to the four mother shin, the shins, the four-headed shin on the tefillin. You're not teasing him, which wouldn't make any sense. You are giving him words of encouragement. And we know that Pesach always falls out. And this idea goes so far, Chava. Pesach always falls out in Pashas Achrei Mot. Why? Achrei Mot deals with the Avodah, the death of Aaron's kids and the Avodah. There's an amazing pasuk there. Hashochen itam betoch tamatam. God says, I dwell with them despite the fact that they're tamei. Says Rashi, even the Jewish people are defiled with sin, shchina b'neihem. This is encouragement to the Russia. Even though you're defiled, God is still with you. Because you have the Torah. They didn't have the Torah in the Exodus from Egypt before. They didn't have it. But as long as you have the Torah, you're not sham, you're po, you always have tikva. So we're not teasing him, the opposite. We're giving him words of chizuk. Person reads the Agada year in and year out, there's a total misunderstanding of what the Baal Haggadah wants to convey. Wow. Coming out of Egypt, we came out of the Kur HaBarzel, the iron furnace that forged us into an eternal nation. You open up the door, right? On the fifth cup Elio. We don't drink the fifth cup, but we pour the fifth cup, and then we open up the door. Why do we do that for, Chava? Says the great Lubavitcher Rebbe. The fifth cup of Elio, we open up the door, that's for the fifth son, who doesn't even show up for the Seder. Open up the door, go out and try to find him. The one who doesn't show up. Even he is a chelik of Am Yisrael. We have to reach out even to him on Seder night. So therefore you open up the door by the fifth cup of Elio, representing the fifth child who does not even show up. Pretty interesting. This idea goes so far. Where do you learn out that you need a minyan? You need 10 for a minyan. From the wicked Meraglim. There were 10. Meraglim were 10, right?
Right.
The two guys were good.
Right.
You learn out a minyan from 10 wicked Meraglim. So why can't you find 10 righteous Jews to learn out the minyan? Why do I have to go fishing to 10 wicked Jews? The Meraglim were wicked. Says the great Moshe Feinstein. From here you learn out that you can use a Russia for a minyan. If you have 9 Moshe Rabbeinus in a room, or 9 Rabbi Kivegers, or 9 Vilna Gaons, can you say Kaddish?
Nope. No.
But if you have 10 wicked Jews, go for it. So the source for a minyan is dafka, not 10 righteous Jews, but 10 Rishoyim the Meraglim. That's how important the daven with a minyan. And therefore Moshe Feinstein paskins that you can use even 10 Rishoyim, but not 9 Moshe Rabbeinus to make a minyan. Riyah Kodesh says the symbolism of Chametz and Matzah. Chametz, it's puffed up. Matzah is what? Flat. Says the Riyah Kodesh. We all carry around Chametz throughout the year. Arrogance, pride, anger, resentment. B'dikas Chametz should reflect our internal cleansing of our ill feelings to our fellow Jews and try to become a matzah man. Matzah man. Humility, not to be so full of yourself, puffed up. Get rid of the anger, rid of the resentment. Calm down and become a matzah man. The Talmud makes a strange statement in the Masechta Sotah. It is difficult for a successful marriage as it is to split the Red Sea. A strange statement. It is difficult to have a successful marriage as it was the splitting of the Red Sea. What's the connection between a successful marriage and splitting of the Red Sea? When the sea split, it went against its nature. It made room, pulled back, and made room, pulled back, went against itself to let the Jewish people pass. The secret of a successful marriage is you have to part for each other. Just like the Red Sea parted for the Jewish people, each partner in the marriage must pull back and make room for the other. To be mevater for the other. Like the sea was mevater for Am Yisrael. It pulled back and went against its nature. Sea doesn't usually part. So successful marriage is each partner in the marriage has to act like the Red Sea. Has to make room, pull back, and be mevater for the other. And limit yourself. And make way for the other. Rabbi Palm would say sometimes in a marriage, one partner says something, the other partner has to play deaf. Make believe you didn't hear it. Sometimes you have to play deaf. And the ikar is not to answer back. Because even when you're right, you're wrong. If you answer back, then you're really, I'm talking to myself, right? So you have to act like the Red Sea, to go against your nature and not to answer back and part for the other. And then you're acting like splitting of the Red Sea. The secret of a happy marriage. Thank you very much.
For more of Rabbi Sprecher's teachings, visit rabbisprecher.com.